How would you like to take 2 months off and not work at all and have your business continue to churn out profit and deals? Well, this is what I'm going to help you break down. I'm actually about to embark on a 2-month sabbatical of my own, and I want to share this journey with you and exactly how I've set my business up to do that. My name is Dan Schwartz. I'm the founder of the 80/20 Investor Academy, which is a business mastermind for real estate investors like you. Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment to this video. It's going to help get this message out to more people because, look, why are we in business to begin with? It's to have time, freedom, wealth, and the freedom to do whatever we want with who we want in the way that we want to. And I think we get too lost in the tactics and deal strategy of the day that we forget that the whole point of business is for it to run without you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to share kind of my journey and what I'm going to be doing to let my business run on autopilot when I am gone, and how you can apply that to your real estate investing business. So why go on sabbatical? Well, first reason is to reboot, right? You need a chance to kind of refresh your brain so that when you come back from this sabbatical, and I'm going to be on for 2 months. So after not working for 2 months, I'm going to be full of ideas, full of energy, and I'm just going to be sprinting full speed when I return. And really excited about that because not only does it give you the joy of just experiencing life without having to worry about, money. Well, it also allows you to test your business and test to see where you are actually bottlenecking things. I'm going to break down next how to actually take care of the major elements that you might be bottlenecking right now. And then we're going to talk about the bottleneck test. You take 2 months off, see what kind of fires come up, what fires you can let burn because they don't really matter that much, and what things are truly essential to have your involvement, right? And if you commit to doing a 2-month sabbatical, which I suggest you do, it will force you to systemize your business, which in and of itself is valuable because your business is ultimately, the equity of your business is the set of systems, processes, and people that run the business. And so taking 2 months off will force you to remove yourself from that and to systemize your business, which is exactly what we train people how to do inside the 80/20 Investor Academy. If you want more information about that, click the link below. So let's talk a little bit about kind of where I see most real estate investing businesses. They're in one of these 4 quadrants here: survival, stagnant, scalable, or saleable. And I'd like for you guys to kind of think about where you're at in this as well. And this will help you kind of clarify the jump that you need to make. So a lot of folks come to me and they are in pure survival mode. So they are the bottleneck. The owner is the bottleneck, meaning every major department of the business relies on them to execute. Another word that I like to call is brute force Bob. So the investors is brute forcing their way into every single deal. And then once the deal comes in, they don't really know where the next deal is coming from. And it creates lumpy income. Some months are good, some months aren't. There isn't any predictability or consistency in their business. And this is kind of survival mode. It's not a fun place to be where you're constantly hunting and trying to keep everything afloat. The next level up is stagnant. Stagnant is where you have some loose processes in place. Relatively what works to get a deal in your market, but and you might have some VAs helping you execute the marketing, whether you're doing driving for dollars or direct mail, or maybe you have a lead manager in place. It still feels like an adult daycare where you are micromanaging every single action that your VAs or team take. And it kind of leaves you in a state of stagnancy where you're not really growing, but you're able to kind of do some deals, maybe 1 to 3 deals a month with some loose processes in place that aren't really being followed. This is a step above survival, but it's still not where we want to be. Now, we need to get to this scalable. We can separate this into kind of 2 sections here. Below this, you don't want to be. Above this is kind of the goal, right? So to get to scalable, what this means is essentially you've got systems that are good enough systems. You've got the right technology in place. You've got all of the core departments of the business systemized and there's documentation around it. But the problem is that there is what I call process friction, meaning your team, they know that this stuff exists. They know that there's a way to do things. There's a way to talk to sellers. There's a way to negotiate with buyers. There's a way to determine what type of exit strategy you're using. But people don't really follow that plan. So you haven't truly baked in a culture of a business that can run without you. And there's still a little bit of hand holding, and you're really still trying to like force people to follow these processes. And there's some friction around that because not everybody's fully bought in. You're scalable, but there's still some friction around having it fully being a part of your value system in your business. But where we want to get to and what I'm going to kind of talk about on this call is being saleable. And this is where you could literally take a sabbatical and take off however long you need. 1 to 2 months is kind of suggested. I'm reading a really good book right now called Reboot, Jerry Kalana. There's a whole podcast that he does with Tim Ferriss where he talks about how he does a sabbatical like once every year or 2 years or something like that. And it really inspired me to consider this. I'm getting married in September. So after the marriage, I figured we might as well just enjoy being with each other and setting up my business so that I could actually take a sabbatical. And if I can do it, guys, I promise you guys can too. It's really just a matter of executing things in the right order, which I'll talk to you about in a second. And when you are saleable, the value of your business becomes the systems. Systems become your differentiating competitive advantage. If you look at other investors in your market, I guarantee you they have pretty loose systems and they're probably hanging out down here, right? And when you can have a machine that you dump $1 in and $5 comes out, and the whole fulfillment of that value engine doesn't rely on you, now the systems and people and technology that runs that process becomes the value of your business. And this is where you start to think like an owner and you can actually sell that business to someone else. Most wholesalers that I talk to don't think that they can sell their business, but you absolutely can, but you need to get saleable. And when you do that, you can go on a sabbatical. Make sense? So here's how I'm going to do it and how I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm just going to make a new page here. Fresh page. Here we go. I think about business as kind of 3 core components, and it's set up like a funnel, right? Pardon my awful handwriting, but you'll get the idea. So every single business is a funnel. The bottom of the funnel is how you're making money. Okay? Your exit strategy. Are you flipping properties? Are you wholesaling properties? Are you retail? Are you wholesale? Are you buying and holding and burring? Are you buying commercial land? Are you flipping land? Are you buying landowner finance? How are you actually generating money in your business? That is the first thing. What happens before that is the sales process. How are you actually getting the thing under contract? And do you have a process in place that can get things under contract and acquire properties? Sales and acquisitions, you can think of it as that. Getting stuff under contract without your involvement. And then at the very top, you've got, of course, lead generation. And if you think about your real estate investing business, the goal is to just remove yourself from all 3 of these things so that you can focus on the whole of the business to make sure that each part is interacting with each other in the right way. Everybody has the right tools and resources to execute their specific jobs at each of these departments at a high level without your involvement. And most real estate investors start with doing lead generation first. And that is the first mistake, because what happens when you generate a bunch of leads and you have no processes in place for sales or your monetization strategy or your dispo strategy, whatever you want to call it? Well, you're going to have chaos. You're not going to be able to handle all those leads. Things are going to fall through the cracks. You're going to have messy books, Sellers are going to be frustrated that you didn't get back to them in time, and you're going to lose deal flow and you're going to lose sleep, because that is not a fun place to be. But most investors think that they start with that. So the key to going on a sabbatical is going bottom up, going from the bottom up and removing yourself from your business from the bottom up. I know it seems counterintuitive, but this is crucial, and this is exactly what I did inside of my business. So just for clarification, my business right now is full-time. I'm running the 80/20 Investor Academy, which is a group mastermind and training program that shows you how to set your business up to go from this survival to saleable. And we're not just talking about how to do deals, we're talking about how to be a business owner, and like step by step, no matter where you're at in your business, how to actually make that leap in as fast amount of time as possible. And what I did in my business first is I removed myself from the fulfillment. So for me, this is fulfillment of the coaching program. So I've extracted everything I know out of my brain into a roadmap called the 80/20 roadmap, where you can actually see where you're at in your journey based on revenue level. So if you're at 10 to 30K, it'll show you what strategic initiatives you should be executing. You click on that strategic initiative and it will present to you a whole menu of tactics, actions, and training videos inside of our portal that you can watch. I also have expert coaches that are actively doing deals and actively working on 6-figure-a-month businesses that you can get coached by. And we have an amazing community of people that at this point kind of runs on its own, really, really smart folks that are all on this journey together. And so I have done a lot of work. I've hired a team to kind of manage constantly reaching out to people, documenting people's wins, making sure that each week we have 2 trainings a week, and that those are all marketed and everybody shows up and everybody gets value. And all year I've been kind of removing myself from that so that I am not bottlenecking the scale and growth of all these companies, right? And so that's the first thing I did. That's how you should be thinking about your fulfillment. So when you get a deal under contract, your dispo, negotiating with buyers, you need to start thinking about how can you remove yourself from that first. And we talk all about it inside of our training program, which you can learn more if you click the link in the description. So the next thing, once you've got your dispo completely off your plate, you have a VA running that system, well, now you're free to close as many deals as possible because you're not going to be bottlenecking the dispo, right? And you can see how this works in reverse, going from the bottom up. So then you can hire an acquisitions manager. And when you hire an acquisitions manager, we have a whole training called the AM Blueprint, which shows you how to do this step by step, literally step by step, like from the job posting all the way to training the acquisitions manager and getting them their first contract. We show you how to do that. And imagine what happens if you are removed from dispo and you are removed from sales and acquisitions. Well, now you're free to think about dumping more leads into this machine because you're not going to be bottlenecking sales. You're not going to be bottlenecking dispo. You can just focus on marketing and lead generation and networking and becoming the go-to investor in your marketplace and having a really rock solid follow-up system that prevents any leads from falling through the cracks. That is where you want to get to, because now you can just send as much money as you need to based on the capacity of your sales and dispo team, that is, and things aren't going to fall through the cracks, right? And now, before you go on a sabbatical, you want to make sure that you have some kind of lead generation campaign that's happening automatically. A couple ones off the top of my mind, you can just set up a drip campaign with mail that you buy a list, a targeted list, you schedule mail with the mail fulfillment center. We use Go Big Printing. We recommend Go Big Printing. They'll set up what's called an elixir campaign, which is different types of mail pieces every single month to the same list that just will go off without you needing to do anything. Those leads will come into your VA. They'll qualify and nurture. They'll set the appointment for your acquisitions manager. Your acquisitions manager will close the deal, and your dispo team will get the deal sold. Money will wire into your account, and you had no involvement in that process. Now, of course, easier said than done, but all of the little details around actually doing this is what the 80/20 Investor Academy is all about. But this is how you need to start thinking of it. It's a bottom-up approach, and that is really the secret. So I've got my coaching team in place. I actually hired a a sales agency to start to take all of the strategy calls and basically be the gatekeeper to the program to make sure that great fit candidates can get into the 80/20 Investor Academy. And what is a great fit candidate? Well, it's someone that has experience doing deals, that's doing at least $10,000 a month or 6 figures a year in income, and they're trying to get to 7 figures by removing themselves from the day-to-day. And they basically help you map that plan out and see if it's a fit to join the program. And they're fully trained. I've done over 700 of these calls myself. And so I don't need to be doing that anymore. Just like you don't need to be doing all these sales calls anymore. If you're at 6 figures a year, you do not need to be the breadwinner. It is just a part of the operation of your business. If you want to be an owner, you need to remove yourself from the operation, right? And so I've got that in place. And now we are designing a lead generation strategy that will continuously and predictably funnel leads and sales calls into this business. And how we're doing that is we have YouTube ads that we're just optimizing. We pay for traffic to a video. People watch the video, and if they're interested in getting our help, well, then they can book a call with the sales team. YouTube ads is getting managed by a YouTube ads person that we hired. And so when I'm gone on sabbatical, they're going to be running that funnel. People are getting onto our email list. And then we have emails, 3 emails firing off every week, including the one that you probably read when you watched this video. And that's just going to be happening consistently because I put in the work, and I'm going to basically batch all of this content to go out automatically over the next 2 months when I go on sabbatical. And theoretically, it's going to help keep everything flowing. And the only way that I was able to do that is I started from the bottom up. Another hack is to have an integrator on your team. So I've got an executive assistant, an EA, and I have a part-time COO or ops manager. She worked at another coaching company before, and she is an expert at creating playbooks. So when I brought her on, we started with fulfillment and created a whole playbook for client success. What to do if someone is a red light, what to do if someone's a green light, how to share wins, what's the cadence and templates to reach out to people, at what point should we text people, what happens if a payment doesn't go through. All of this stuff, she created a playbook around, and we just worked through it. I started this process 3 months ago, or 3 to 4 months ago, earlier this year. Then she helped me onboard the salesperson. And now she's helping create a playbook for lead generation. Having an integrator that can help you build playbooks will basically memorialize all of your knowledge into a company wiki, whether that's a Google document or a set of Google documents, or maybe you're using something fancy like Notion, which is what we do, inside of our 80/20 operating system. And the 80/20 operating system is kind of the structural component that we teach all of our real estate investors to implement. And if you want to learn what that is exactly, there's a link in the description of this video that will take you to a short film that I made all about the 80/20 operating system. If you are interested in making this transition from survival or stagnant mode, and you like the idea of going on a sabbatical and like putting your business to the test, then go ahead and watch that video. But if you like this content and you understand how powerful this can be, I'm going to keep digging in to these components even harder. We can talk about delegation and management and hiring and recruiting and strategy and all these things that I work with a lot of real estate investors that are great at doing deals, not so good at the business and systems kind of component of it. After 2 successful exits and hiring dozens and dozens of people and making all the mistakes, I'm excited to start sharing this stuff with you. So if you liked it, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to start growing this and posting and sending out emails every week with new content related to creating a business that can run without you in the real estate investing world. Again, my name is Dan Schwartz. Go ahead and watch that video in the description, and I'll see you guys on the next one.